Here's a look at the gas caddy. It's manufactured by Vevor, and this is set up for an electric pump, and the electric pump is not compatible with gasoline. It'll work with diesel or kerosene or oil, but not gasoline. So I'm going to convert this over so that I can pump it by hand with my hand crank pump. Now this kit comes with this electric battery powered pump, and I'm not sure why it's dangerous or illegal to pump gasoline. There's a warning right on it. I think it might have to do with the fact that it's using an electric pump, but it could also just be that gasoline's too corrosive and it'll destroy this pump. So that's why I'm using a hand crank. But I may attach this to my oil fill can. Right here is my oil fill. I have a manual hand pump, and this is just for 10W30. Works out pretty well for me. And I think I'll run that electric pump over here so I can pump this not manually but electrically. So in order for my pump to actually work, you're supposed to have a 2-inch bung, kind of like this, on a 55-gallon drum. But I don't have one like that, so I found a adapter here. This is 2-inch pipe threads, and what I'm thinking I'll do is just cut and weld it right on here. This comes with a 1-inch output that I just capped off. So I'm going to clean up this valve block, and then we'll cut a hole and we'll try and mount it. So this valve block I found at the scrapyard, so there's rust on it and dirt. So I start just by cleaning it up. Alright guys, I cleaned up the valve block. I chamfered the upper edge a little bit, made sure the bottom was smooth, and there was a grease fitting here that I'm just going to fill this hole. I'm going to weld it. This is cast iron, so it doesn't always weld that well, but this particular block doesn't need to actually be leak proof as far as mounting on the top of this tank, but I'll do my best to make it leak proof. So I welded that up on the top and on the inside. I don't know how well you could see it, but should be sealed up well. Now I'll just grind that off. So I have this little Vevor Cut 50 plasma cutter. So I'll be using that. I'm just going to kind of cut a rough opening for my pump to go through. Well, that little plasma cutter did a good job. That works well if you ever have metal that's too hard, like hardened steel, that you can't drill. And in this case, if you don't have a hole saw or bit the right size, because this is over 2 inches, made quick work of that. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind the paint or the powder coating off this so that we have clean metal, and then we can weld on our valve block, and I should be able to add my pump head. I left this pipe on purpose in case I reconvert this thing back to you know, a diesel tank or an oil pump tank. So I put a little bit of the right stuff in here, and that should seal it up, and we'll stick this on here. So I've had the fuel caddy for a couple days, and I'll show you the features that I like. First of all, it has solid wheels in the back. They're not pneumatic, so you don't have to worry about them going flat. It also has like some pretty nice locking casters on the front. Let me pivot these guys out. You can see how they sort of pop out like that, and they have locks on them. So if you lock it like by stepping on it, if you're on a driveway or something like that, it won't roll away. They both lock, and they move pretty easily. Right now I have the tank filled. It holds 30 gallons, so that's about 240 pounds of fuel. And if you look at the fuel gauge, that's what this thing is. There's a float in there. It tells you how high it is. It's about 3/4 full right now. Now I've upgraded mine to a fill-right pump, and the reason I do that is because I own a small engine shop, and I get a lot of fuel from snow blowers and generators that might be stale or old or have particles in it, and I like to filter it so I can reuse it. So I have a 10 micron filter I use, and that works out pretty well for me. So one other thing that I do is when I store it, it fits kind of right in there next to that green cabinet, and I found it's easier to roll this guy in with the casters going in forward and these wheels back. And another thing that I found is you can flip the handle like this, and that'll get it out of your way. It locks in either up top or down, and it moves pretty easily even with the handles on that lower position. So I usually haven't been flipping it around. Now to fill this thing up, you can fill it up with gas cans. I have a truck with a lift gate, so I can lift it up easily and strap it in and secure it on my truck and fill it at the gas station. And it's also not too high to fill when it's in the bed of my truck with me standing on the ground. Now, one thing I like to do, as I said, is recycle the gas. So to do that, well, I'll tell you what, I'll show you this thing pumping fuel, and then I'll show it pouring fuel back in. So we'll take a look at it. So I have a gas can here. On this particular pump, about 10 cranks is a gallon of gas. So you could fill up your car this way, or a tractor or four-wheel or something like that. You let the air bleed out and gravity drain the fuel out of there. And the nice thing about this Fill-Rite pump is they give you a very good quality hose. So that locks in there like that. And I'll show you how I go about pouring old fuel back in here so it can be filtered to remove water or sediment. So the unit comes with the screen for sediment. So that's in there. And then what I do is I use a funnel. It has another screen. I drop that right in there to make things easy. And you just slowly pour the fuel through the funnel, just like that. It'll filter out particles. And then once again, the pump has that 10 micron filter. So that'll take care of everything. And this is a look of the unit where I keep it when I have it stored, and you know, that's why I have the pump handle facing backwards, because like I said, it just fits in there easier with those casters, and it works out well for me that way. Alright guys, that wraps it up. I'm Double Wide 6. Hopefully you got an idea of how that fuel caddy works for my small engine business. It's real handy. I use them all the time, and I'm real happy to be upgraded to this new Viver fuel caddy. I'll put links down below if you're interested. Thanks for watching guys, and don't forget to give a thumbs up. Take care.